Hello, Professor. I'm Sian Wang, and today I will presentation on my study, the impact of rural-urban education resource difference on students' academic performance. This study analyzed 1,196 empirical papers over the period 2019 to 2023. Through a systematic literature review approach, aiming to reveal the core dimensions of urban rural educational inequality and its measurements of action. The report is divided into 5 parts, and I will focus on key data, research findings, and policy implications. Look, there's 5 parts. And part 1, research background and theory farmer work. Education equality is the cornerstone of social fairness, but there is a significant imbalance in the distribution of educational resources between urban and rural areas in China. And next. This study is based on 3 theories: educational production function theory, qualifying the marginal effect of resource inputs on academic outputs; cultural capital theory, explaining how difference in family cultural resources affect educational attainment; social reproduction theories, reveals how inequalities are transmitted intergenerational through the education system. And next is part 2, method and the Prisma process. We strictly followed the Prisma farmer work. 67,280 articles were retrieved from Google Scholar and others database. 31,439 articles were excluded by title abstract scoring, and 36 articles were excluded by full text scoring. 1,196 high-quality empirical studies from 2020 to 2024 will include. And next is Prisma flow chart. Search terms include educational resource allocation and urban-rural gap to ensure coverage of multi-disciplinary literature in education, economics, and other disciplines. And part 3, key findings. Teacher quality has the greatest impact. Teacher quality explains 28% of the academic gap. Rural teacher turnover is 2.3 times higher than urban rate. Cumulative effect of physical resources. Laboratory at named gap is 95% with 65% is significant assisted with science achievement. Strengthens the cumulative effect of resource gap at lower secondary level. Beta is equal to 0.36. The urban-rural gap is not due to a single factor, but rather to systematic inequalities across multiple dimensions such as teachers, felicities, and secularity. And part 4, policy, recommendation, and future directions. 2 policy periods based on evidence. 1. Different findings. The Australia SES model increased student progress in disadvantaged schools by 23%. 2. Teacher support programs. Structured mentoring increased rural teachers' retention to 65%. Need to be strongest in the future. Longitudinal tracking studies. 82% feel of certain data is cross-sensory. Multilingual literature including only cover English and Chinese. And the next conclusions. Summary and acknowledgements. In summary, narrowing the urban-rural education gap requires period resource allocation and teacher support policy. This studies provides empirical evidence for educational equality policy, and we will follow up with a field survey to verify these findings. Finally, we sincerely thank our tutors for their careful guidance and urge them to critical and correct us. We will now move on to the Q&A session. Okay.